Take first question in the third row in the orange there. Brown.
Yeah, Joe Masato, the Oklahoman. Shea, from the beginning of the rebuild to now, you and Sam always seem to be sort of on the same page with what the plan was. Can you just explain maybe how that level of understanding between you guys got your team here?
Honest and upfront with me from day one. I think that helped our relationship right away. You don't get that very often, especially that early. He seemed like a guy I can trust, and he's been that, and I just try to be the same back to him. Nothing more than just two guys with good character, trusting each other, and have one common goal in mind.
Over here, standing on the left.
Jared McCain, I'm the NBA player correspondent. I'm big into the mental side of basketball, of sports, of life, and visualization, meditation, and stuff I do every day. And I just want to know, like, what do you do on the mental side of it to stay prepared, stay focused in these high-pressure situations?
Good question. I completely plug out. Like, I turn my TV off so there's no, like, basketball highlights going. I don't watch basketball. I just spend time with my family, my friends, and I try to, like, remove myself completely from basketball because it just consumes so much of my life and my day. And then, like, when it's time to plug back into it, I'm eager to get back into it like I missed it. So, yeah, I just try to find, like, a balance of plugging it in and out of it.
Over in the right, second row.
Shea, Tim Reynolds with the AP. You guys have obviously handled your business very professionally this year, but you also have a lot of fun, the way you guys play for one another. Do you think it's going to be difficult to keep that sense of fun, even though you're now playing for the title? It's the finals, it's the big stage. How will you guys stay true to who you are in this huge environment?
Yeah, I don't think we have a choice. Staying true to who we are is the reason why we're here, and we'd be doing ourselves a disservice if we changed or tried to be something we're not. Once we got here, we've had success doing so, and if we want to keep having success, we have to be who we are, and it's organic, so it's nothing like we have to think about or force. It just is who we are, no matter the moment.
Michael up front.
Shea, Michael Grange from Rogers Sportsnet. Congratulations on the MVP.
Thank you.
There's four of you guys here this week. Yourself, Lou, Andrew, Ben, and maybe just briefly what it kind of says about Canadian basketball, what it's going to be like battling against, friends, teammates, and just when you look at your season and Steve Nash's legacy, where do you think what you've done builds on that?
Sorry, Mike. The first question
was just what it's like going to be battling against
yes.
and with friends at a stage like this.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Like you said, like playing with those guys. Like I played against Andrew when I was 9 years old. Like it's been an amazing journey, and to see him having success, my own success, obviously Lou's success, Ben's success, like it's special. It's hard to even wrap your head around just kids that, like there's so many kids that played in the same games that we played, and for us to make it to this stage is a testament to our hard work, our character, the people around us that help us get here, and it's been a blessing. It's been super fun. And then what do you say about Steve?
On the follow-up, I know he's been a real supporter of yours. We're not going to get into a GOAT debate, but what would it mean to take it to a next level, to win a title, and on top of an MVP season?
Yeah, it would be amazing. Steve, obviously, is a pioneer for Canadian basketball. He started the whole thing, I guess you can say, from the way he plays to the way he carries himself to his approach to the game. Like, I learned so much from Steve, from being a 17-year-old kid in 2 weeks of time. That helped me get here for sure. So the things he's done with Canada basketball in a whole and just push the culture forward has been amazing. And then to win a title on top of everything that's happened this year would be special. I've said this so many times, but I don't play for the individual stuff. I don't play for anything else besides winning, and I never have my whole life. when I was 9 years old, I played to win an OBA championship. When I was 20 years old, I played to win an SEC championship. And now I'm 26 and want to win an NBA championship. Like, it's always about winning for me.
On your left over here, Joel.
Joel Lorenzi with the Oklahoma Shade. You told us after Game 7 of the Denver series that you had been nervous in the day or two leading up to it. What are you sort of feeling as the series approaches, and how difficult is it to, as you say, sort of plug in and plug out this week?
Yeah, it's been a little bit different in that situation. Situation I've never been in before, obviously, but it's been fun. As these playoffs go on, you get better in controlling the situations, controlling your emotions. You understand what's coming, but it's been fun. Like, the opportunities here. It's been a long week to wait. Feels like the days have gone slow, but yeah, I figured out how to navigate through all the emotions and the nerves and the waiting process, which is just plug into my loved ones, try to not think about it so much, stress about it so much, and just enjoy life and stay in the moment.
Fourth row on the right, Vinny.
Shay, Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. You guys have had a historic season so far, 68 wins, the double-digit wins, the road to the finals. Have you had a moment to reflect on being on the doorstep of history in this time since the conference finals have ended? There's a lot of idle time, a lot of time to sit with your thoughts. Do you have a chance to even appreciate getting here, appreciate how dominant this team has been this season?
Honestly, not really. I've been so focused on just game one, trying to be the best version of myself for this group, and try to make sure that we're clicking on all cylinders on the biggest stage of our careers has been the front of my mind and all I've been really worried about when I do worry about basketball. So yeah, to answer your question, I haven't really taken the time to look back, see all the things we've done, but I will when it's all over for sure.
Dan, last question here on the left side.
Jay, Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. You guys have faced some fantastic offenses in your road through the Western Conference. Now you deal with the Pacers. What makes them different? What kind of challenges do they pose that are maybe a little bit different from what you've seen so far?
Yeah, like you said, every team has their strengths and their weaknesses. They're a very fast team. I think, above all, they understand how they're playing, and they're very stubborn in their approach, and they kind of grind you with the way they play, and they wear you down. And you don't get here without being a really good team on both ends, and they're that. We know that coming into the game. But yeah, they're very they know their identity and they stick to it no matter what.
Thank you. Thank you. I was like, who? No, you're good. Fourth row. Thank you. Go ahead.
Jay, being such a young team, there were some questions about how inexperience might play against you. How you guys handled that, and how was Mark's role? How Mark play against those concerns?
We try not to feed too much into what the media has to say in regards to inexperience, and I guess the thing early in the year was like being too young. When you're young, I feel like we just kind of use it to our advantage. Like we try not to look at what we can't do and just focus on what we can do and be really good at that. And I think Mark has done a really good job of instilling that in us since I've been here for the past 3 years. And it's just something that we get harped on a lot in the thing. And as we grow through these experiences, young or not, you know, when you can learn from whatever situation you're thrown in, it makes you better. And I think that's why we're here right now in this moment.
Again, same row in the center.
Hey, Jalen, drafteados from Spain. I was going to ask you about that too, because we talk a lot with an Spanish ex-NBA player, and he always says that character means more than experience in the playoffs. And I think you guys, being such a young group, really embody that. So how do you feel about that statement?
No, I think it's true. I think, honestly, if you look at both teams, you look at Indiana and you do a closer look on them, they're like us. Like, you can see the team chemistry they have. You can see that they love playing with each other and they enjoy being in these moments together. And I think that's starting to look like what the blueprint of the NBA is. When you get a group of guys that like playing with each other and like doing stuff for each other and just are constantly willing to like make the extra sacrifices, extra plays for each other while we go through these ups and downs of the season, I think that's what makes you a good team.
Steve, on your right.
Hi, Steve Ashburner, NBA.com. You draw duty defensively where you're asked to guard smaller, guard bigger. I'm just wondering, what prepared you to be able to handle those type of demands, and any key ingredients to actually being successful at that?
God had me grow at the right time in college. So I was short for a long time, so I was guarding little guards, and then obviously I grew. And I think that kind of helped. Obviously, the taller you are, you can guard more positions. The Thunder did a really good job, I think, grooming me into that. Just throughout my first year, they just put me in so many different situations, and I was able to learn from them and get better through the situations. And I think I was in a really good position where, like, as a rookie, I was able to do like trial and error and do a bunch of stuff like that. So when I get to these moments now, I've had more years under my belt to like learn how to guard bigger guys, learn how to guard smaller guards. So I've been able to like grow through the process of doing that. And then defense is a mentality too. Like, regardless of who you're guarding, if you go out there and compete, you know, you could be pretty good defensively.
Over here on the left, Joel.
Joel Lorenzi, the Oklahoma. And Dub, you said after the Denver series, I believe, that you hadn't really slept leading up to Game 7. How have you sort of handled the emotions leading up to the series? How have you digested this? And have you had time to sort of put into perspective, you know, what it means for you to be in the finals in year 3?
I haven't really wrapped my head around the fact that I'm in the finals. I did like the correspondence thing 2 years ago, or I guess like a year ago. No, 2 years ago, right? Yeah, 2 years ago. And it feels like life has been such a blur since that. I'm still trying to like get over the fact that my brother's in the NBA. Like, there's so many like things that have happened since then that I'm still trying to take in. So it's definitely a blessing that we're here. And I try not to get too caught up in it because we still have a job to do. And I'm trying to like really focus on that. But it is, whenever I can like get a couple days off to like really look at it. And this past week, like, I've been able to like really just be able to take a step back and just look at how far I came.
Standing on the right, Dan.
Jalen, Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. As you've had this sort of longer layoff and opportunity to get a closer look at Indiana, look at them, what sort of leapt off the screen about the way they operate offensively? You know, what makes them maybe a different challenge than some of the other offenses that you've dealt with so far?
I think everybody's seen it. I don't want to give too much away, but they obviously play fast. that's their thing, and so you kind of got to tip your hat to them. The playoffs is just historically something that really slows down pace. So for them to be able to impose their will on that, and obviously win the last 3 series they played, doing how they want to do it, I think is really impressive. So that's what we've kind of like seen, and I don't think that's really like a big secret, but that's where they're unique.
Fourth row, Vince.
Jalen, Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. It wasn't like you guys are just sort of coming out of nowhere. You were a pretty good team last year, but you're so much more dominant this year with the net rating, the point differential, and everything else. Was there a moment, or have you taken a moment to appreciate how dominant you guys have been? You've had a lot of blowouts. There's been a lot of instances where you've sat the fourth quarter. Has there been a moment of even reflection through this in the locker room saying, guys, this is different than last year?
I think maybe like middle of the year, I think not having bigs, like you remember like Hart and Chet were out for like a good majority of the season too. I think for us to be as successful as we were during that, I think was a big moment for us. But at the same time, it's a very like weird position you get put in because you want to look back at the regular season, but you really don't get any regular season awards. You know what I mean? So, and I think just the playoffs come up so fast, you can't really look back at it. So hopefully, we're trying to win the finals. That's where where our focus is, and we can look back on this later on. But I would just say the middle of the year was more like where our confidence got going from that.
Third row on your right.
Hey, Jalen. Scott Campbell from The Score. I'm just curious, playing alongside Shea as long as you have, what's the biggest thing you've learned from even being around him, playing with him, anything like that?
His mentality. He's just a winner. Like, he just has a I'm going to get it done mentality, and I think that's kind of rubbed off on the rest of the team. You can always see he doesn't make excuses, and I think that just bleeds over into the team. So I would say I've probably taken that from him, and I think I think that's where he's grown up to, just as a leader. And I'm not saying that he wasn't early on in his career, but I think just for our team, he's been really good leading us that way, and he's a good lead by example.
David Aldridge in the back right.
Okay, told you who I am. The success on the court obviously expresses itself in terms of bringing you guys closer. But I wonder, how has the city and the region kind of gotten into everybody's skin to feel like this is a great place to be, this is a great place to operate?
I've honestly felt like the energy from the city since I've been drafted. Like, when I got here, there was a ton of people outside the hotel, like, waiting to see us and congratulate us. I always compare it to, like, a small local, like, high school football team being really good, and like the city around them kind of like gathers around them. Like, that's how Oklahoma is, but it's with like the whole state. Like, everywhere we go, I've been met with like love since I've been out here, and it's been a really cool experience. So I'm really happy that I get to be a part. Even the past 2 years, like, I get to be a part of 2 really good teams, and I think it just brings the city more and more life. And I'm happy that we get to like bring that back to here.
Over here in the fourth row, third seat in. There you go.
Hey, Jalen. Esper Heaney from NBA Daily. Wanted to ask you, obviously the playoffs have their ebbs and flows, and that can be long in its own way. What have you learned about your game over the last couple of months?
I wouldn't say I've learned anything new about my game, but I think what I've learned is there's highs and lows with every series. There's highs and lows with every game, and the more that you can stay even throughout it all, the better off you'll be, and I think that's where I found a lot of my success.
Thank you, Jalen.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Up next, we'll have Chet momentarily. Yeah. Number 2 in the center in the white, fifth row. We'll take first question straight ahead in the fifth row.
Chet, drafteados from Spain. Alex Caruso won the championship 5 years ago when you were 18, and now is your teammate here. Can you tell us what's the most important thing that you learned from Caruso this year?
One of the most important things that he's come in here and taught us is the importance of executing the details. You'll see so many times he makes a huge play out there, and it really comes down to inches. Was he in the right spot by a few inches? Was he able to reach the ball and poke it away by a few inches? And that comes down to knowing where you need to be and when you need to be there, what you need to do, and how to execute it. And he's really come in and preached the importance of that, and kind of shown us firsthand what that looks like. And it's been big. It's helped all of us, and it's been big having him.
Joe here in the second row.
Hey, Chet. Joe Varden from The Athletic. Nice to see you. What is the pressure that the Pacers put on opposing bigs with just having 5 guys who can shoot threes?
Yeah. I think I can speak firsthand on this as, we can do similar things at times with some of the ways that we play. It really opens up the floor, and it's not even so much about opening up the floor and being able to attack just the 5. It comes down to opening up the floor for everybody else to be able to attack as well. So, it really comes down to being able to play solid and kind of defeat the point of attack.
Scott up here on the left.
Scott Agnes, Fieldhouse Files over here, Chet. I'm curious, were you aware that Donnie got his start in the league as a Pacers ball boy?
Yes, I was.
Yeah?
Yep.
What kind of impact has he had on you, especially this year, trying to rehab and staying with it?
Yeah, I couldn't say enough. I've spent, respectfully, a lot more time with Donnie than I'd ever wish to. Not because Donnie's not a great dude or one of the best at his job in the NBA, just because if you're with him, that means you're hurt. So, trying to avoid that. But he's been amazing. I don't think there's been any hiccups in any of my kind of healing processes, and he's a big part of that. So it's much appreciated.
Nick?
Chet, I just wonder what these last few days have been like for you. Mark has always talked about sort of your insatiable, unwavering hunger for more information and, to dig into this matchup and some of the fundamentals and the point of attack stuff that you were talking about earlier. What's this been like for you as, a competitor that's preparing mentally?
I mean, it's been great. I love the playoffs personally because in the regular season, you'll run into situations where the schedule is really beating another team down, and they'll kind of take a game to, reload and everything. And then, towards the end of the season, some teams are playing for certain things or have different, I guess you could say, intentions. But in the playoffs, you get everybody's best shot every single night, which, is the way you want it to be. And, it's been great to be able to learn from every single night and try and figure out how to be better for the next one. And you're also seeing the same team for 2 weeks rather than playing a new team every single night. So you're really able to take a deep dive, get into things, and, really try to – it's really like a puzzle. You got to take the time to figure it out rather than in the regular season, I feel like you're just working on your own stuff and trying to build yourself throughout the whole season. In the playoffs, it's then taking that and also trying to kind of figure out the other team.
Standing in the front right.
Where do you feel over here on your right better or more evolved as a player than you mentioned the playoffs last year's run? Where have you gotten better?
Yeah, I feel like I see the game better in different ways. Obviously, last year we had a very defined play style, and we kind of lived or died with it. And this year we have a lot of different looks that we can throw at teams. And, I feel like I still have a long ways to go, and I can improve in so many different things on both ends of the ball. But being able to kind of see those situations and work on them, I feel like I've been able to improve on them.
Second row on the right.
Chet, Tim Reynolds with the AP. Your team, obviously, you're all young. Shea's the MVP. You're an enormous talent. Dub's an enormous talent. Lou's an enormous talent. You can keep going down the line, and yet you guys don't seem bothered at all by who the guy is at any given time. As long as you guys are winning, you guys are cool with that, and that's not common for young teams. Why do you guys make it all work?
I'd say the biggest thing is playing for each other, one, and two, the type of guys that we have here. If you ask anybody, that everybody's going to tell you that they're a winner, and everybody is a winner until it's inconvenient for them. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we have a team with 17 winners that are going to put winning at the top of the totem pole over any other over anything else, really. And does that mean that you're guaranteed to win every single night? No. But when that's the main focus, and you're not working towards anything else, you're able to kind of chase that better than if you had a different perspective on it.
Standing on the right, Dan.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Chet, we're back here. You mentioned earlier viewing these series as sort of like a puzzle you got to put together, teams that you got to try to solve. When you look at this Indiana team, what's the most important puzzle piece you got to try to figure out to try to solve them?
That puzzle is also a secret, That's my answer. Sorry, I wish I could give you more, but.
Anyone with a final question? All right. Thank you, Chet.
Have a good one.
Short break now until the Pacers come in.